So hello and welcome. I'm Frederick Dunn and this is The Way to Be. But today, we're not dealing with honeybees. We're just scooting across my property here because we've got a problem. And I promised in a previous video that we were going to deal with this problem really soon. And we're just scooting around the property here a little bit. Cosmos are growing there. The honeybees are getting it all. And we have goldenrod. We've got ironweed. We have a lot of things going on, and there's a nectar flow, and there's a pest that is also putting pressure on our honeybees. But a bigger problem for me here is my grandchildren run all through here. Just like last night, they were right in this very spot from 3 years old to 9 years old. And when you go down this path, there's a surprise occupant here. There is a wasp nest. So here we are on August the 26th of 2025, and according to my supervisor, who is one of the grandsons, he's 9 years old, I need to deal with this particular wasp nest because they attack him when he's, quote, just walking by. Now, I actually haven't found them to be overly defensive. You can look at them, notice they're not doing anything right now, but do you know why that is? Because we're looking at the back side of the nest. That's right, they have an entrance side. If you go to the entrance side, you get their attention, like right here. And the entrance, for those who want to know, is facing west. And so here they come out, and this is what we don't like. They will come and sting you. Now, we normally deal with honeybees when a honeybee comes out and stings you. They don't like you, by the way, to stand in front of their landing boards either. But the Yellowjacket wasps, when they come out, they sting you, and they don't die after they sting. And they also have their little alarm pheromone that they put out, which comes from their venom. And when they start stinging, the rest of them get all excited because they want to sting you too. Or whatever it is that happens to be going by. In this case, it's a person. And we're going to deal with them. So now I have to admit to you that in the past I've been guilty of a few things. I've killed my share of yellowjackets. I've killed bald-faced hornets. Those are the black and white striped ones. And we call them hornets, the bald-faced hornets, but they're really just yellowjackets themselves. So there's only one true hornet here in the state of Pennsylvania, and that's the European hornet. Look at this one already stinging my goatskin glove. And it's important to point out that I enjoy messing with venomous insects and other things that others may find dangerous, but I wear protection. Very important to be completely protected head to toe if you're going to actually get into their space and do anything with the yellowjackets here. Now, I know a lot of people will say, those aren't yellowjackets. Yellowjackets are in the ground. I know because I mowed over them and they stung me. Well, that's true. Those are yellowjackets, but these are a specific species, aerial yellowjackets, A-E-R-I-A-L. So they're still yellowjackets. They still have that bad disposition. I mean, I consider these pretty easygoing when compared with the bald-faced hornets. Don't like them at all. I've observed the European hornet, which is Vespa crabro. I've watched those at pretty close range with no reaction at all. So these have an attitude, these have an issue, and I'm going to have to do something about it. We're going to, what do you think? What would you do if you had a bunch of yellowjacket wasps hanging about 8 to 10 feet off the ground, right where everybody wants to walk? Now, we could rope off the area, keep people away, because guess what the attention zone, the strike zone, let's call it, is. When we walk up to them, I'm in their space now, I'm too close. That's why they're attacking me. They're attacking the cameras. And if you walk away, though, by the time you get 12 to 15 feet away, they back off. They go right back to their nests, and there are guards that they post on the outside of this paper nest. And so they back off pretty good. I mean, there are honeybees in my apiary, which is 100 yards from this location. that will follow you much farther than that once they're upset, once you've been in their hive. And this is not a hive, this is a nest. And we're going to get into it. In what way, though? I'm not going to cut it apart. I want to tell you ahead of time, there won't be any flamethrowers. We're not going to use any Dawn Ultra dish soap. Although for those of you who are in a position where you can't manage the wasps and you have to get rid of them for whatever reason, Dawn Ultra dish soap, 2 tablespoons per gallon mixed with water, and you can spray them and take care of business that way. But being me, I want to see if I can do something else with these, so I'm going to relocate them. Now in the past, I have successfully relocated other species of wasps here in the state of Pennsylvania, and but they're the laid back, the mellow ones, you know, not these Yellowjackets. And so I have been able to clip their nests, or when we find them on the ground, we can reattach them to something else. Last year I had an extended experiment where I collected a Yellowjacket nest, much like this one, that was down on the ground after a storm. I stuffed it in a suet cage, and didn't they rebound? So they built their nest all around the suet cage. And I just hung them on a tree branch and watched them the rest of the year, and I didn't get to finish my interaction with them because winter came early, storms knocked them out, and I was not able to continue to make the video. So this year we're ahead of the game, and we are going to update these, but I have an interesting method for transporting this nest to a new location that will be safe for pedestrians, because the kids won't be going where these are going, deeper in the woods on my own property, by the way, because I think it's probably important to point out, you don't want to take a nest of Yellowjackets and reattach them to a neighbor's tree or something, or put them on public land or in a park or something like that. Highly recommend you don't do that. So I have this really cool transport system. Look at this. It's an insect net enclosure made by a company called Rest Cloud, I believe. I will put a link down in the video description for this. This is not a promotional video. I have a clamp here, and what's on the clamp? A magnet. Not just any magnet, a really strong magnet with a hook on it. And having these laying around gave me an idea. I think I'm going to try to transport this nest to another spot and use that magnet, not just to transport these things, but of course to attach them in their new location. I'm also going to pull double duty on these. Check my thinking here. Now, if we were in Africa and we needed to keep something out of our garden, elephants, let's say, they hang honeybees on the perimeter of their property in top bar hives, and the presence of the honeybees keeps the elephants out of the garden. Now, we don't have elephants, and I'm not going to be hanging up honeybees trying to keep things out, but we do have deer coming through and they're eating things. So I had this above average idea while I'm clipping away the extra branches here. What if I clipped away all these branches except the ones coming out of the very top? What if I put a clamp on those branches and I transport this to another location away from the kids, but right adjacent to the deer trail where they come in and eat all our stuff? So what I'm going to do, and I don't know if it's going to work yet. Why? Because, you know, it's still today, August 26th. I'm going to have to do follow-up videos. I'm going to put night cameras out. Even though Yellowjackets don't fly at night, these don't anyway. Bald-faced hornets can. European hornets can. But I think maybe just having them present alongside the deer path. The deer may pick a different route, hopefully away from my property, and they'll stop eating my stuff. I don't know. It's all just a test. So you can hear the little pinging and tapping. These Yellowjackets are bouncing off of everything. They're trying to sting things. They would probably like to kill me if they could, but they can't because I'm protected. And I'm also wearing, let's see, what suit is that? Natural Apiary Maximum Protection is the camouflage bee suit that I'm wearing. I'm also wearing big boots so that nothing can go up my cuffs. And because I don't want to be distracted. I want to make a video. I don't need wasps inside my suit trying to get me. I'm also wearing one of the broad round veils so that their little stingers are well away from my face. The other thing is you can actually smell the venom. They're spritzing venom and trying to sting the veil, and there's a certain odor that comes with that. If these were bees and they were trying to sting me, we would smell bananas. It smells like bananas when they have their alarm pheromone going and they're all letting you have it. But with the wasps, it's something more benign than that. It just doesn't smell that distinctive, but there is something. In the past, I'd sneeze a little bit when they started trying to sting me on the veil. But we're going to get them. We're going to take them out of this tree. By the way, you may be wondering what species of tree they're in. It's an apple tree. And this time of year, often people think, man, those wasps just showed up out of the blue. That nest wasn't here yesterday, and here it is the size of a basketball or something. Well, it's been there all year. They just gradually build, and you just don't notice them because a tiny nest doesn't launch much of a defense. However, when we get to the end of August, which is what we're doing now, their numbers are bigger, and they can send out many more wasps to attack you. Now, just like honeybees, there are drones in here at the end of the year because they're also making queens about now. And honeybee drones can't sting you. These drone Yellowjacket wasps likewise can't sting you either. And they're pretty distinctive too because they have really long antennae on their heads. And this time of year they could actually be making some queens. Because that's what they're going to do at the end of the year. Some people ask me, do they reuse the paper wasp nest? Do we have to get rid of it to make sure they don't occupy it again in spring? No, they don't reuse it. In fact, it's probably a really good thing that they don't, because that way they don't build up any disease or anything. So here I have them on my clip. I've got the magnet there. Let me show you some magic here. Because I thought, how am I going to connect this through the net without cutting a hole in it? That's where the magnet idea came up. So that's a piece of electrical conduit. And I just used that little hook and magnet, and I knew it would support it because, by the way, if you had that on a flat bar, that magnet will easily hold more than 50 pounds. So holding a Yellowjacket wasp nest is so easy. And then we'll just zip it shut. And if you wanted to, I mean, this is pretty darn safe. It's completely enclosed. Unless your fingers or hands were right up against the fabric, they can't sting you through this. There's a clear window to look through. You can transport them a long distance. If you needed to bring this indoors for some reason and take pictures of them or videos or something like that while you're completely protected, this rest cloud system would be the one because it has framework around it that can support things. Now for this video, I'm just using it to transport stuff. So I tied it with paracord, of course, diagonal there, that conduit, and I'm carrying this with one hand and of course videoing with the other because I'm not going very far away. In fact, I think that the scouts or those that are foraging that are out and about, because the best time, let's face it, if I weren't making a video, I would be doing this at night, on a nice cold night in the dark with a red light. But because we're videoing it, see, that's why I had to do this at 3 in the afternoon. And so I'm just going to hand carry it to the new location. I didn't have to put it inside this rest cloud thing, but I decided to demonstrate that for those who may have to put this in a van or a car and drive it farther away, or take it to a nature center, or take it into your entomology lab. It's easy to do. And remember the magnet. You don't have to cut any holes. You don't have to violate the boundaries of the rest cloud insect net confinement, whatever it is. You could raise butterflies in this. It has multi-uses. And so here we are on the deer trail. I'm going to take it out and wonder how I'm going to attach it to the tree. Oh, this tree has a hinge on it. with some electrical wiring holding it at a very specific super level angle. I'm very lucky to find a tree that has a hinge on it with 4 screws going into the tree, and it's probably a piece of steel which will make my magnet work perfectly. So let's reach in and get that magnet off of there and see if it will attach to this tree that has its own hinge on, again, the west side of the tree. Look at that. Works perfect. That's above average. Now here's the thing. All the gear that's on that tree, once the winter comes, once things are frozen and all the wasps are dead and gone, I'll just come out with my power drill and I will unscrew all the screws, take all the parts away, and I can use this again another day. And if I want to collect and salvage this nest that I'll bet you they do a lot more work on, it's right here. It's easy to do. I can just bring it right inside once they're dead. Pretty sweet. So I wanted to show that method for sure. Now why did I use a hinge? Because it's what I had laying around. I could have used angle iron or something else. Anything with steel in it that's not 300 series stainless and is magnetic would work. So my tripod back here without the camera on it, getting visited by some unhappy wasps. And of course they're attacking another camera that's also sitting here. And these were the foragers, and of course those that were launching the defense. When I took away their nests, they didn't follow it. So they've attached themselves to a bunch of leaves here on this tree. And it looks like there might be, I don't know, 40 of them, 50. I also expect that those that are out foraging, thinking they're coming back to feed the larvae inside the hive, will just end up landing on this. Although, safe to say that with that nest, now, let's see, it's upwind of this location. So it's to the west, which means any scent coming from that paper nest should come here. I don't think they're fantastic scent hunters, but they have the ability. And I'm hoping most of these will find their way to the paper nest. If not, what do you think they're going to do? I think that those that are out foraging are going to come back, and within a day or two we're going to see a new paper nest being built here. Now that's just out of pure instinct that they would do that, because they don't have a queen, they don't have a mated queen, they can't start another nest. Any queens that are being made this time of year are supposed to hibernate through winter as a solitary queen, and then in spring each queen that survives the winter will come out and start her own colony of Yellowjackets next spring. Now why didn't I just come out and kill them all? Well, they've done some cool things this year. It's, you know, they walk the line. They do put pressure on my bee colonies. They do try to get in through the entrances. They do try to steal resources. But there was also a bagworm nest on a tree branch that they cleaned out completely. They are pest control times 10. Someone recently posted on one of my videos that they outperform bees when it comes to pollination. That is not even remotely true. They do end up pollinating a little bit by accident. They're really not very well equipped as pollinators. They do land on flowers because they like the nectar just like the honeybees do. And of course these adults can't even eat animal protein. And so why on earth do you see them chewing on dead animals? That's right, they'll chew dead animals. And why do we see them collecting tiny bugs and worms and inchworms and bagworms and things like that? Well, they collect them, they fly them back to that nest, and it's the larvae inside that are the meat eaters. So what does the forager get for its trouble? Well, the forager gets a payback from the larvae inside the nest. It oozes out some sweet nectar for the forager, and this encourages two things. One, the forager is encouraged to come back, and then that little larvae is going to be able to grow until it hits its pupa phase. This is just for those that want to know what the temperature, what the environment was like today. Well, it rained this morning, 65.3 degrees Fahrenheit here. And we have more rain, it looks like, tomorrow. And so the temps are going to stay cooler. We've got some beehives to check out. In fact, there was also a swarm. I'm not happy about that here on August the 26th. That's a honeybee swarm. There are other swarms that are about to happen in this area that I can't wait to check out, and that will be ants. Ants are going to swarm. In fact, people panic a little bit because they see ants with wings and they think termites. But they're really just regular old ants. There are a lot of different ant species. So what happens to these when winter comes along? They'll all die. And I was about to mention earlier that there are advantages to building a nest completely fresh every spring because toxins don't build up in your nest. We worry about the environment when we talk about honeybees because they build wax comb. They have a perennial nest. So even honeybees in trees concentrate what they're finding in the environment in their beeswax. And year after year, it concentrates itself and the wax can actually become toxic. Thank goodness there's something that eats beeswax in those natural cavities, and that would be waxworms. And then they consume the old wax, and then new bees come in, and a swarm occupies the space, and they build new comb, and the cycle continues. With wasps, they just build everything fresh. But this is why you see wasps. Oh, look what's happening to my camera. They leave their little venom streaks all over everything. Not pleasant. They streak the lens, they streak the viewfinder here, they streak the little display. They just drag their little stingers when they can't get it into something. But back to what I was talking about. Honeybees, critical for the environment. They are pollinators, and other bees too, by the way. 20,000 species of bees or more worldwide. And I believe we have over 500 species of native bees right here in the state of Pennsylvania. And they do the pollinating. So the wasps have their value here. I don't know what eats them. Now I do know the skunks, for the ones that are on the ground, for those of you who try to chase skunks away. The yellowjackets that are in the ground with their nests, get those dug out by skunks because we find where their nests were freshly dug out by skunks in the ground. And so skunks are good to have around too. There's no reason to run them off. If they're after your bees, just keep your beehives 16 to 18 inches off the ground and you're good to go. These are going to be interesting. I hope that you'll come back and watch the follow-on videos here because I'm going to show what the foragers and scouts end up doing. I'm also going to show you how they progress. I'm going to pay attention. And I hope you'll come back and see, do they make another nest? Do they all move to the old nest that's been relocated? What are your thoughts? Please share down in the video description below. And I want to thank you for watching. I'm Frederick Dunn, and this has been The Way to Be.